Hi, so day 2 now we're going to come up with a draft document. So here's the CA brief with instructions, and here's the draft document we had from the last day. So I'm going to do a bit of word processing first, just show you a few tricks. So I'm requested to put in a header with the lab title and name. So up here is your header. If you double click, you see it opens up the header. And you have different options here. So I want the lab title. It's called Tensile Test. And we'll label it CA1. Then you can put in your own name here. And we'll get that to go over on the right hand side of the page. So if you press the tab button and get it to push across, the tab button has an arrow going left and right. It's just above the capital locks on my keyboard. So if you want to get out of this now, you can click close header, or you can just click outside, double click, sorry, and there you're done. So that's the header done. Let's see if the header turned up on the next page. Yes, it follows true. So that's exactly what I want. And it's not on the previous pages. That's grand. So the next step then, we look over here. We want a footer note with the page number on it. So if you double click here, it opens up the header. It also opens up the footer. So the footer is down at the bottom of the page. You can put in a footnote. We have the page number already here. So let's pretend it isn't there, because I want to show you how to do it. So page number, you can go in here and you can say you want it at the bottom of the page, and you have your style there. We'll put it in the middle, page number 1, and you come out of that. And then if you go to the next one, it says number 2. Now if this is number 1, what's up previously here? It's I, and there's no numbers on the previous pages. So I just want to explain that, why you have numbers on some pages and not other. And to explain it, if you click on this button here, you can see we have a couple of things at the end of the page. So here is a section break. So if we start numbering, we can number inside this section, and then we get to the end of the section, we can restart our numbering back at 1 again. Here's another section break. So this is a different section. So I might have a different numbering system. Here's another section break here. So let's say I got rid of this section break here. And I'll put this back on the next page. I'll put in a page break instead. So if I go up here and I type break, B-R-E-A-K, and click enter there, it puts in a page break. And my numbering has disappeared. So I'll put my numbering back in there. Now this page here now is now part of the same section as the draft. So let me go into header and numbering. How do I do that? Try design here. Nope. Insert. Let's make this wider. I can't actually remember how to get the option, so I'm just going to double click on the top. That's Tanya Swain, so it was in design section. And I want to put in the page number. So put in the page number, and the bottom of the page, number 1. So I'm just showing you, last time this wasn't 1, this had no number. Now that's number 1, that's number 2. So if you ever want to change the numbering system for different sections, you put in a section break. So I'll get rid of that and put in section break. Nope, that's a page break. section break, here we go. And break pages, section break, there we go. So that's a section break. We get rid of that page. Alright, so we're on one there, and we're on one there, and I don't want one in this section, so I'm going to get rid of that. So just delete that. Right, so that's how to use section breaks, page breaks. And we have a page numbered now. Nope, the numbers are gone again, so we finally put back in the numbers. Page, bottom of page 1, close header. That should be done. So what's the next thing on our list? We have the page number, a table of contents. So you can manually do out your own table of contents, or you can automatically generate one. Now all this red writing here, we'll look over that later, but at the moment we're just getting a couple of formatting things correct. So I want to start off with a table of contents. So there's a way of automatically inserting a table of contents. And I can never remember where to find things, so I put in here TABLE, table of contents. There we go. Our style that we want. This one looks good, so we'll go with that. Creating table of contents, start by applying heading style from the styles gallery. Just select the text, that's fine. So we have a table of contents, but there's nothing in it because we don't have any headings. Now you said to me, well, that's a heading there, but double click on it, and if you go up to home and look there, we have normal text selected. So we want to make this a main heading. So I'm going to say heading 1, and I'm going to put in the number 1 there. 1 introduction. Now that's a heading because I've highlighted here as a heading. So if I go back here and update my table, it has the introduction there and has the appropriate page number 1. So this one here, I'm going to make this a heading 2, and I'm going to make that 2 background theory, and we'll go down here, experimental setup, that's 3. I'll make it a heading, put in 3 there. What else have we got? We have results. Let's make that a heading. Now we're doing just heading 1s here. You could do heading 2 and 3 subheadings if you had a bigger project. Now that shouldn't be 1, that should be 4. So 5 then is discussion. And that's another heading. So click heading. And references is another heading. There should be conclusion before that. So that should be 7. We don't usually number the references, we'll leave it there at the bottom. So that's discussion, there's conclusion, I missed that. So let's make that a heading. Six. References and appendices. We'll make that a heading as well. Now if we go back and update our table, all them headings should automatically appear in our table. So we'll update this here, page numbers, entire table. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's perfect. So that's our table of contents done. What's the next thing we need? We'll just save this now. It's good to save the file every so often in case the computer crashes and we lose all our work. So we have table of contents. The following headings, we did that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 2 guys at the end. Insert a labeled image of the rig. PowerPoint can be of assistance. So the rig now will go into the experimental setup. So I click Control and click on this. It'll bring me down to experimental setup. And we'll edit all the red stuff later. But at the moment I want to put in a picture of a rig. Now on Moodle there's a couple of pictures there. If you look around you'll find some. Or you might have taken some on your phone on the day. So I've downloaded some here. But I'm going to use PowerPoint to edit these. So I'll open up PowerPoint. I'll get rid of this here. Blank slide. I'm going to drag in these 2 pictures. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say this is a blown up bit of the rig here. So you can mess around with all the different settings here you have for pictures. I'm going to put a circle around it, and I'm going to make a different color on the outside if I can. So can I form a picture? I have a line on the outside and I'd like it to be a different color. So let's go with red. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert a circle around this bit here, or it's more like an ellipse. And I'm going to make this, so if it doesn't move very well, you can put your finger on the Alt button and it'll move more smoothly. So I'm going to put in no fill, I'm going to put in a red line. I'm going to make it a bit thicker so I can see it better. And this kind of indicates to me that this here is a magnified view of this section here. And I'll put little lines coming out as well maybe. So I'll insert a line. I'm going to make that red too. I'm going to copy that, and if you put your finger on the control button, it'll duplicate it. So I'll put it in there. Right, so that kind of demonstrates to the user that this is a magnified view. Now you want a couple of labels, so you can use these lines. If we go back to insert and line, so little arrows here, so we can label different things. So here we have the test section in here, so we can put a little arrow in here to label it. Now the arrow's going the wrong way, so we'll flip it around. We might want to make it a different colour, so I'll use the Alt now to get it in a nice position. We'll make it a bit bigger because it's very small, that arrow, and we'll use a different colour, will we? Green will do the job. And this is the test piece. So I'll put a little text box in then. So text box. So this was our annealed steel test piece. And I highlight that and I'll make it centered. And if you want to, you could put a box around it as well. If you go over here and put a solid line around it and line it up with that little arrow coming out. So I'll highlight Control A, will highlight everything, and I'll move it over here. So that's how you kind of label your images to look nice and professional. You might want to crop this down a bit, it's quite tall. It's in the floor. So you can label the different things in this image, different arrows. And when you're finished then you can take the whole thing and you can copy it. I might group it all together before I copy it, so it's all locked together, and then I'll copy it and I'll bring it into Word. So in here I'll paste my image. Oh, that's too big, so I'm going to have to make that smaller. So I'll make this wide, and I'm going to zoom out a bit so I can see what I'm doing. And unfortunately it hasn't grouped here now, it's coming up as different parts. So I'll try and highlight it all. Nope, there we go, highlight it all. So it's, the edge now is outside the viewing window, which is awkward. So if I go to view, and if I go to web page layout, it'll just allow me to see the edge of the image, so it's easier for me to make it smaller. So I'm going to make it much smaller. I'm going to finish with that. I'll go back to normal, the normal view. As well, the text is behind it, so if I right click here, look at the text wrap, I want it to be in top and bottom, will do the job. and we want this to be the top of the background theory of the experimental setup, so it should be in down here. And if we zoom back in, then this text here now is too big, so let's make it 12. And it's not fitting very well, so let's select all, Control A, and make it 12. And we need a bit more space here. So that's the figure done. Now you need to label it. Figure 1. Whoops. Now, you can write it out, but there's a lot better way of doing this. We'll show you in a minute. Figure 1 test section. We'll highlight that and center it. We'll also make it italic. And this first bit here, if I was to insert another figure above it, then I'd have to change this to figure 2. That's quite awkward. So what I want to do is make Word do it automatically. So I can never find anything here. It's referencing, isn't it? Where's reference? There we go. Insert caption. So here I'm going to automatically number the figure. So I'm going to do a figure. We can do equations and tables later on. We're doing figures now. And we just want figure 1. So let's put in that and see what we get. Figure 3.1. So it's looking at the heading. And it's putting in the heading 3. And we're getting the 1 there, which is fine. So we'll get rid of this figure 1 now, and we have one that's automatically generated. The only problem with it is it's blue, so I'm going to manually change that to be black. So we'll change it to be black, and we won't make it bold, and we'll make it italic. So that's the figure automatically numbered. I want to show you how we do a cross-reference to the figure. So say we're writing about the figure down here as shown in, and say it's going to be figure 3.1. Right, so see the way this is highlighted grey, it's not a number, it's like a formula. It's automatically recognizes that it's the first figure in section 3. We can cross-reference that now here. If we go to cross-reference, we should be able to find that figure. So number item, we're looking at figures. Can you see figures? Nope. We go down, figures is down there. And it's this one here. And I don't want the entire caption, I only want the number. So only label a number, that's grand. And I insert that there. And as shown in figure 1, 3.1. And that's gone bold and italics, and just change the text back to not being bold and not being italic. So I'm not really writing about this at the moment, but I'm just showing you how you would cross-reference a figure. The advantage of this is if I went along and I put in another figure there. So let's just put a random figure in. Pull this one in here. Let's make it smaller. Now we don't want to do this obviously, but I just want to show you how the figures automatically update. So we can type in figure 2 then, or figure 1. So we're inserting a caption here. Okay, it's figure 3.1, and we'll leave it the way it is there, and we'll go down here, and this one is updated to figure 3.2. This here now should be figure 3.2. So we'll just right click and say update field, and it updates the reference. So all this gets updated automatically. If you're writing a thesis with 20 figures in it and you change one of them, you don't want to muck up all your numbers. So we use this way of automatically updating the numbers each time. So I want to get rid of that now. And this goes back to figure 1, hopefully. I'll just highlight these and update the field. Update fields. So that's back to 1, that's back to 1. So that's the figure numbered. What else have we to do? Number your table and figures. So I've shown you how to do that, and maybe you do it at the end. You have a table and you have a graph that comes in as well. You can number that as a figure from your Excel. So you need to insert both of them. Cross-reference your figures we looked at.